So yeah, be careful for the next 2 weeks and then the third come back to me. So how did you experience your time in our hospital?
It was okay. It just the wait time was crazy. I was waiting for twice as long as I was actually being worked on. It seemed like at the very end I was just sitting in the room for an hour and a half just waiting to leave and nothing was happening. And even before that, the doctors kept asking me the same questions over and over. It was just not a great process.
Okay, thank you very much. Hi, hello. I'm working for Burton Group Hospital and we have really bad score for patient satisfaction. Can you come and help us, please? Thank you. Hello, I'm Justine. I'm working with Susan for the Burton Group Hospital and I hire the girls, so hi!
Hi, I'm Kelly,
I'm Maddie.
and we're part of Dr. Gordon's team here to assess the quality of your ED operation during the daytime shift of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Hey. Thank you very much. That really clears that up. You really focus on that time and that's part of the hospital. Okay. So what are the main issues that your reports highlight?
Well, we found that your total processing time is 155 minutes, while your total wait time is 317 minutes.
Okay, that's a lot.
Right, and this means that patients are waiting twice the amount of time that they're actually being tended on by doctors and nurses.
Okay, so did you find why that is?
Yes, the inefficiencies of your process is stemming from the bottlenecks within your ED operation. And a bottleneck is the process that takes the longest amount of time and is slowing down the rest of your operation.
Okay. So what are the main bottleneck that did you find?
The largest bottleneck, and which is the biggest problem, is the discharge process.
Okay.
That has a cycle time of 80 minutes. The second and third largest bottlenecks are the procedure room and the blood test process. And they have cycle times of 67 minutes and 34 minutes.
So tell me more about the first main issue.
So first we'll analyze the discharge process. Currently you're completing your discharge paperwork in batches of 5 patients. Since the documentation process time is 18 minutes per patient, this is a total processing time of 90 minutes. Although it may seem efficient to complete 5 discharge paperworks at a time, it actually causes extremely long wait times for those who didn't have a procedure and causes the processing time to be 11 minutes longer than necessary, because if you process each patient immediately after their procedure or review, the processing time would only be 7 minutes.
Okay, that's really a gain of time, or in that case, a loss. So how do you suggest we proceed?
Our team suggests to improve the discharge process. You process the paperwork immediately after every procedure and every review of each patient. As Maddie said, this will cut the processing time down to 7 minutes, and this will also reduce the cycle time by more than 50%.
Okay, that's huge.
Yes, that will make a big difference. Also, we believe that this will result in a shorter wait time for patients prior to being discharged. We also noticed that the cleaning staff will be able to clean the rooms immediately after the patient is discharged, rather than having to wait for 5 rooms for each patient to be discharged in batches of 5. This will allow a quicker turnover time for patients to be placed into the room by the triage nurse.
And
Prior, the triage nurses were unaware when those 5 rooms were done and empty and ready for a patient to be placed into. But after a cleaning staff member is done cleaning a room, they can notify the triage nurse that that room is empty, and the triage nurse can place a new patient into that room.
yeah, that we noticed that the cleaning part and knowing which room was available was really an issue. So yeah, so that's a solution. Thank you.
No problem.
So that was for the discharge part. What other procedures should we change?
We also suggest that the blood test should be altered.
Okay.
We noticed that nurses first gather supplies for the blood test from the supply closet, and our team observed that a lot of the nurses often can't find the materials that they need, And it's not that your hospital doesn't have those materials available.
Okay.
They're just not being properly restocked in the supply room closet.
Okay, so it's really about stockage and finding the proper tools.
Yes, I believe that your hospital is only restocking the closet twice a week, but Maddie will talk about the changes later on. So after all this confusion with the supplies closet and gathering the materials, the nurses then have to take the supplies and set them up on a tray within the patient's room. That adds another 2 minutes to the processing time. And finally, after that, the nurses do the blood draw, and they take the tubes to the lab. Usually they send the tubes through your pneumatic tube system,
Yeah.
but that is broken, right?
Yeah, it is actually. It is.
Yes, so by having the nurses walk to the lab instead of using the pneumatic tube system, it's adding another 5 minutes to your processing time.
That
Yes.
much per patient.
Per
So
patient, yes.
per day, it's at the lab.
Mhm.
Okay.
And Maddie will talk about the changes that we suggest for the blood test.
So the biggest problem that needs addressing is inventory confusion.
Mm-hmm.
We think the problem is stemming from supplies management, ordering the wrong kinds of materials. For
Okay.
example, they order the same amount of small, medium, and large gloves, but in reality, the medium gloves run out really quickly, and then the large gloves are piling up because not very many people need them.
Okay.
So supplies management can reconcile this issue by matching supplies to demand rather than delivering a constant rate of output.
Okay.
So they should use forecasting to determine how many gloves and what kind of sizes the nurses use on an average each month to help them predict supply demands in the future. Also, the supply demand should be restocked at the end of each workday instead of twice a week, as Kelly mentioned. That way supplies won't run out and continue to increase wait times. Additionally, the closet should be better organized, bins should be labeled, such and so on. And then lastly, we suggest that the supply team prepare 25 pre-stocked blood trays instead of setting it up in each patient's room, which Kelly mentioned adds 2 minutes to the time.
Okay.
Also, we feel it necessary to fix the pneumatic tube system and
Of
pay for
course.
preventative maintenance so that the issue never occurs again.
Okay. So overall, it's really small changes.
Yes, our team suggests a lot of incremental managerial and organizational changes within your ED operation. This should result in a lower wait time, a smaller processing time, and a smaller cycle time. The only major issue you might have problem getting approved by upper management is paying for the new pneumatic tube system.
Yeah.
But our team has suggested that maybe you would like to sell your portable x-ray machine, because our team has noticed a lot of your nurses don't feel comfortable using it.
Yeah, it's true.
And it has the same processing time as your original x-ray machine. So we suggest you can sell that machine since it's not being used and use those profits towards
Sure.
paying for a new pneumatic system and the maintenance for that machine. So originally when our team came in, we noticed that your value added to non-value added time, the percentage, the ratio of that was below 50%.
Okay.
And after the changes that we suggest to processing the discharge papers immediately after each patient, the supply room changes, the inventory changes, and the pneumatic tube changes, we believe this will result in an increase to that ratio to about 64%, which is a pretty big 15% improvement in your operation.
Okay. So thank you very much. I'm looking forward to put all that changing into effect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We should really be more careful.
Yeah, it stinks that I was back, but it seemed a lot better this time.
Really?
It seemed like the wait time was cut down by more than an hour. It seemed in and out. It was very nice.
I'm glad to hear it.